To be up to date.
I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Welcome. Yes, welcome to the Trailer Park
Why
Show.
don't you introduce us this time?
You go ahead,
I
Pokey.
can't pronounce that. Valencia.
Valencia.
You ever go by Val?
Ashley. Val, yes.
Okay, well, that's probably going to be easier because he butchers names, okay?
Val. Pokey Val.
Okay.
And I'm Ashley.
Valencia Ashley.
Yes.
Okay.
Not Valencia.
Valencia, yeah.
Well, they could get it right.
And we all know...
Mr. Robert Thomas. Hey!
And we all know our wonderful Miss Marilyn. Anyway, I just come in here. We're going to have a wonderful show tonight. We're going to be talking about the Black Panther movie. And I don't know if any of these ladies and gentlemen have watched Black Lightning on TV, but it's another superhero story.
It comes from a different source.
No, well, it's all DC Comics. So
That's
anyway,
DC?
It's another really good show. But anyways, I just want to take a minute to talk about these recent incidences that we've been having over here on the east side. And now it's hit in southwest Travis County or southwest Austin. I just urge everybody, be vigilant. And, you know, let's all keep an eye out for our neighbors and stuff. We need to be more involved in our communities. You know, if y'all are seeing something or hearing something in the middle of the night, your dog's barking or something, go poke your head out the window and see what's going on. Because this mad, I don't want to call it a mad midnight bomber, but basically that's what he's doing is he's going out at night and laying these bombs out. And it's just a shame. We lost a wonderful young man, the 17-year-old guy.
Turns out he was really something.
He was
Well,
really
the
something.
39-year-old we lost. The first one was 39-year-old, and then the 17-year-old.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the older man, but you know, it's all horrible what's happening. But that young 17-year-old, he was in the accelerated school, and he was doing wonderful. And it's just. This person, I hope that we find you soon, and I hope that you have the similar fate when you go down and meet the man downstairs, that you're in a room where, you know, you're getting blown apart to bits every time you turn around, and you have to suffer that for eternity. But anyways, it's not my place to judge, but that's where I'd put you if I did judge you. But anyways, everybody out in the communities, be vigilant. Watch out for your neighbors. Of course, report any strange box on your front porch that appears overnight like a mushroom or something. Don't touch it. Run away.
Appears overnight like a mushroom.
Yeah, mushrooms will pop up overnight. And I look down usually when I'm walking, so I'm aware because I have problems tripping over things and stuff. But, you know, these filament wires are so tiny you can't see. And just be careful because, you know, if you're a hiker, be extra vigilant.
A dog walker? You
walker.
walking your pet?
Yeah,
and,
a jogger or anybody. You know, luckily these two gentlemen last night, they didn't get hurt badly, but, you know, this is crazy. This is really crazy. So anyways, be vigilant. Get to know your neighbors. Keep an eye out. If your dog barks, go take a look. You know, anything strange that you see or hear, you know, keep your eyes open. You know what your neighborhood's supposed to have in it and what's not. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents, and on to the Black Panther movie. And
even that one neighbor that you think is so nosy, like Gladys Kravitz, you need to thank her because you need to thank her because she could be the very one that helped you. So, you know what? Take your nosy neighbor Gladys Kravitz some cookies or something and say thank you for looking out for my property while I'm away. So. It's not bad to have a nosy neighbor. Sometimes they annoy us, but hey, they're there for a reason.
They have their purpose.
So, yes, they really do.
Else on there? Any comments or?
No, I just think that it's horrible. I think it's tragic, and like your wife was saying, the young man that was 17-year-old, I know he was very active in church and his community and things like that, so I just think it's really sad. So please, if anybody has any information, please contact local authorities because I am tired of waking up to KXAN every morning seeing something happen on my app.
And I honestly think that it's a team of people. It can't just be one person. Yeah. It has to be a team of people in multiple locations. And I also seen on the news that there's a 100K reward, so y'all go get that.
Yeah, which is good. Which is good. And then the governor also put a 50K reward as well.
It's
in addition to. Okay. It's in addition to. And I also want to, give hats off to our interim chief of police.
Chief.
He is doing very good. I think he's been in such a testing time ever since he got in that position, and now I think he's passed a lot of his tests. And I think it's time to make this man a permanent chief. He is very good. So if you're watching, Chief, we want to give our hats off to you because you do a very good job, Chief Manley. Yes, you do.
Well, the last chief's been on this show a couple times. We'll have to try and get him on.
Yes, we do.
I'm
To get
sure
it,
he's
when
pretty
all
busy
this is
right now,
settled
but-
and it's all done and over with, not a bad idea.
You want to throw anything in there, Robert?
No, I echo everybody's words. I mean, it's
Well, I'll throw real quick if I can. I had the darkest. We can all, guesstimate or whatever. But when I first heard this, I figured that was the perps. They had a little accident putting their bomb together. Because you're right, it might be a team.
It could be just a serial killer, though. I was just
It
watching.
could
Well, they
it,
call him a
like,
serial bomber.
a serial bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it could be a group of people too, but I really believe in a minute they're going to slip up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Well, do you think it could be a racial thing?
well, we don't know. I think that he got tried to get a little clever and a little crafty with his last little thing because that was totally separate from his MO. So I think he
And
wanted to
unless
take.
I'm
Trip
correct,
wire.
and that was actually
Oh,
the
yeah.
perps, and they had a little accident putting their next one together.
Oh, yeah.
That's a dangerous business, putting that kind of stuff together.
But I think, like I heard today on the television said, it was like this has been planned. They've planned it. But and part of our prayer is
laid
that
plans.
no copycatters. I'm
10-4.
sick and tired of it. And then someone talked about a box being it was a prank. I'm like, don't be pranking nothing, because that's not something cool to do, to be pranking.
Here. Oh, never mind.
But it could be a copycat because this is totally different. And then with it having a tripwire with this last one that happened the other night, it could just possibly be a copycat.
Well, it could, but what they have done was they talked about the similarities, but they also have linked them together. So, and we have really been blessed because we have additional support with our police force. So we have ATF is here, FBI is here. So that is a really good thing. So that's awesome.
That's another thing I could throw in real quick, if it just not to drag this out. What's his name? Chinese guy wrote this book, The Art of War.
Oh.
Part of it there that stuck out something about how you make the enemy expend manpower, time, and money. Now, when you saw this stuff today, there had to be $1 million in equipment out there alone. And all those people that are out there, they're all either high 5-figure or some of them 6-figure. So we're spending a lot of manpower and a lot of money. For what? 1 or 2 guys, 3 guys maybe?
Yeah, and I don't like what they do because it causes a lot of distraction from other things
It's
that
got
our
everybody's
police
calling the
force.
cops now and saying, I got a
Yes.
package. They got to go out there and look at it.
Everybody's
Yeah,
calling
there was
the cops.
200 something calls. I mean, come on.
And every time it's a call, it's how much money?
I'm not sure.
too much.
Too
Too
much.
much.
I mean, you're
You're
sitting
right, too much.
We got the
Because-
best paid cops in the state, if not half the country. And it's going to be an hour or 2 hours, every one of them. And how much per hour per cop?
And
Plus
it
the
takes
equipment.
time. Well, and plus, like I said, ATF is there, FBI is there.
And they're all 6-figure probably.
Yes. So
Them ATF ain't cheap.
we've got a lot of praying to do for this exposure, for God to
A
expose
whole
them.
lot of praying, huh?
Well, the first and foremost thing, I agree with you all. The first and foremost thing is prayer, recognizing that these families
Yeah.
that have been directly impacted, and then as a city we're impacted. And,
Yes.
and it's raising the issue, right? The issue initially came up was this racial targeting or profiling? Was this, whatever it was wrong and it was dangerous. Any family that's impacted, let alone our entire community, it's dangerous to us as a community. And honestly, it's exposing some of the underbelly that has been separating our community for a long time. So, there are no silver linings in this situation, but what I do like that I'm seeing on social media is how people are coming together as a community. We're supporting each other,
I don't like the name that it wants to give Austin, which is not a good thing.
We're international news now.
Yes, we are, and I believe that there was a band on one of the night shows
Yep.
band that was canceled
Because of a
because of
bomb scare.
and so that's what I
A
don't
band
like.
called Roots.
Yeah, that was with
It
which
was,
talk show is that? That
Well,
one
they
of
have
them
their own,
late
like,
night.
he's on
Okay.
Jimmy Fallon, though,
Okay.
the main one.
And that's not good. I don't like that. I don't like us to be labeled, as a city being a bomber. Just people to be threatened. But really, cowardly acts really want people to be fearful.
They've always been.
So we say enough is
Kamikazes
enough.
or, we got lots of veterans out there used to IEDs and BB-IEDs. And I guess it's only inevitable that sooner or later. Kind of terrible to say such a thing, but. And in Austin, of all places,
I know.
Places.
you thought that.
Yeah.
What could be the? We
our
could
city?
all speculate, but.
Yeah, and I've got everybody else say that about their city where they've had to deal with some issues like this. as well.
Probably so.
Our
Why the
city?
hell would you
Why
come
here? Why here of all places?
Well,
So
Austin is growing so much.
Yes.
There's so many different people coming from
Yes.
to here from different states,
You're
different
absolutely right.
countries. Different spirits
Chicago.
are coming through here now.
Yes.
Like, I remember Austin. I'm born and raised here. Now, Austin was just so small
Yeah.
and quiet back in the day. Like, everything shut down at 9 o'clock. You'll be the only car on the highway by 9:30. I promise.
If
But
it took
now,
more than 20 minutes to get anywhere in town,
Well,
something was
it's
wrong.
not.
and now
Now you can't get anywhere in 20 minutes.
hour.
Traffic was from 5 to 6 p.m. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes,
But-
those
Okay.
were the good days. I'm telling you, I wish we had them back.
Yeah.
We just don't have the infrastructure for all
Well,
the
we're
traffic
not
that we
going
have.
back. No, we don't have the infrastructure. Now we're going to spend who knows how much on bicycle lanes.
Oh, don't talk about that. It took me a minute to get over here. Oh, it don't make no sense. You're going to have Ma come out here and say something about the bike lanes.
Oh, Lord, I can't. Especially now when you get older like this, and me coming from a truck driving background, I'd love to use East Weem Canyon as the example. It used to be a nice 6-lane boulevard. Now it's got these little skinny lanes. You get old grandma and grandpa out there at night in the rain,
On the bicycle.
and a little skinny lane. And, all for a bicycle. Ain't even no bicycle over there.
Exactly.
How many bicycles you ever see on that damn bicycle lane?
And how much money did it take them to cost
Yeah, how much
to
money?
paint all them lines?
Yeah, whose brother-in-law was that did that anyway?
Well, we need
Because you
to-
know it was somebody's brother-in-law.
Made a lot of money striping those
Made a
lines.
lot of
And
money
they got
driving
that
that
full
damn street.
contract, right?
Baby,
Yes.
I'm telling
And now
you.
they're putting, what do they call them, the road humps, speed humps in the middle of the road to try to.
Oh
you know.
my
Yeah,
God.
little ass.
And I really hate the roundabout.
They call
$100,000.
it
And the
speed
circle.
softeners.
Oh, is that what
That's
it is?
what it's called. It's
Oh.
speed softener. I saw it. It was like a speed
Speed
softener ahead.
softener.
Yeah.
Soften
Almost
the
tore my
speed.
car up.
That's what I was going to say. I call it a car terror upper. That's what that is.
I wonder how much more that cost than the speed hump.
Oh my
Road hump.
gosh. That's
A lot more.
Yeah, put speed softener on it and up the price.
Look what you did. See what I said?
too much. Too much.
They used to call it traffic calming devices.
Speed softeners.
Calm
Some of that
things down,
info
huh?
that you wanted.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
thank
a
you.
that's a pretty good bit.
All right,
there.
we ready to go to
I
the
don't know
movie
if I
yet?
can Make a slate just yet. I'm
Oh,
kind of
it's
still
beautiful.
doing stuff in there.
Okay.
International
We
is
make a
$1
slate,
billion.
just throw it up, we'll talk about it.
Just quiet.
Ooh.
Awesome, awesome.
How many weeks has it been now since that movie came out?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Somebody made a damn good investment.
I think so.
Yes.
They took them
Keep
$200
going.
million to make the movie, and looking at those
It
numbers,
took $200 million to make it.
they gave them $200
They gave
million to
$200
make
Marvel
it.
gave him 200 million to make it.
Who did?
Marvel,
Oh.
they gave him 200 million to make the movie.
Well, it's been the number one top box office for 5 weeks in a row.
That's awesome.
And domestically, it has made $605.4 million, and internationally, $1.1 billion.
Now, that's
Is
just
that a
starting.
lot or what?
Internationally, it was the billion?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
International, 1.1
total was
billion.
1 point. It's
That's
internationally,
crazy.
okay.
Nationally.
That is amazing.
And you know, it came out overseas like a week after, or either a
Yeah,
week or
a
2
week.
week after it came out over here in
Oh,
the States.
my
It reached
goodness.
China, I think, a week after it released here in the United States.
You know, I think the total is almost 1.2 billion. Unless I got something wrong here, it says that international is 576, 933 million, and domestic box office was 605. But I don't know what these numbers, but I may be missing. But the point was, that's a lot of money
$1 billion.
In 5 weeks.
in 5 weeks.
In 5 weeks.
In 4 weeks, I think in 3.5 weeks, it hit $1 billion. So
Wow.
it wasn't even a month when it reached $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
that
a
talks
wonderful
about
thing.
right. That talks about the economic viability of stories that speak to a non-traditional Hollywood genre, right? It lets you know that black and brown people
they're worth money.
are worth money, are attractive to the culturally attractive. And it's because this is not just black and brown people going to see this movie, y'all. It is everybody going to see this,
and
loving
that's the
it.
kind of movie that needs to be there.
There it is.
It's something that everybody can see.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So this international sales figure, oh, that's
I think Ma got that number wrong, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna just be careful, Ma, because PolitiFact is gonna come fact check you on that one.
that's probably the combined international plus domestic.
Well,
Combined come up to that much. It's still a lot of damn money.
Yes, it was 4 hours old.
Oh, that was CBS.
That's off of CBS.com.
All right, I trust you, Ma. I should have known your facts are better than this old Googling.
Whatever it is, it's buku dollars.
It's buku dinero.
Somebody did 1.2 or 1.5. I'd just like to have 1 point nothing billion.
So 1.2 and more coming, right?
Yes.
That is amazing.
That's amazing for a 31-year-old director to create something this powerful. I'm just like, that's so inspiring and motivational, because I'm about to be 31 myself, and I'm just like, wow, like, it doesn't matter. Anything is possible at any age, and just for him to be a black African-American male, 31 years old, grew up in Oakland, California, like, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, Oakland, California. That's a black male from Oakland. Where's my gun?
Oh my goodness.
And I love
That
how
stereotype there, huh?
He involved Oakland in it too. A lot of his movies he involves California in it too, but I loved how he put Oakland in there with them growing up, the young guys. So I loved how he brought a piece of his own life into it as well. That's one thing I like about Ryan.
Which is awesome.
That is awesome.
When
I
I'm
was stuck on the technical end of it,
Technical.
because
Yeah.
some of the computer graphics, from what I hear, is
Oh my
man.
goodness. That the graphics in the movie, that when I was watching the previews, that was one thing that drew me to the movie, was the graphics.
Awesome. Very good.
Go ahead, Robert.
No, I was just going to talk about how uplifting it is. I was
Yeah, it's-
reading about the positive face. I mean, I'm going to tell you. I mean, I was crying at the end of the movie. I'm going to put my hand up and tell you that it was that moving for me. Right? I mean, to see strong
clips.
black men and women, and particularly strong sisters,
Yes.
in powerful roles of leadership, not being compromised, but being respected on their own. The whole concept or idea of a technologically, economically advanced nation that was so sophisticated that it hid itself from the world to protect
Yes.
itself, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I was moved. And then when I started seeing realizing that impact on me, and then hearing about all these children that were being being encouraged in the inner city, and people donating money so that black children, minority children generally, but black children specifically, could go see a powerful, uplifting movie that people that look like them.
Yes.
Right? So that they know they can be a 31-year-old filmmaker that can go have a multi-billion-dollar grossing 5 week in a row #1 box office smash, right?
Well, you know where it starts? Right next door and right here.
Exactly.
Right next door is right click. That's where I learned to do a computer. I'd never turned one on while I went next door. And this I've always bragged about this studio. You got all the equipment here to do all kinds of things. Computers. We're in the studio now with the fancy cameras. We're going out on the internet. We still haven't got our Facebook link thing up yet, but pretty much on our end there. But
But the tools and resources are available.
the tool and resources are available to those who really want to reach out and grab it.
I don't want to focus on too much negative, but I was reading about some of the controversy that first was coming out as the movie was going, right? And I was thinking, why can't we just accept and love and respect each other? And I remember being bummed out about, some of the things people talking about being assaulted in movie theater, whatever that mess was. And then I saw someone post something on Facebook that said, "What's the big deal? Why can't you just accept this?" If Wonder Woman, this Wonder Woman was an unbelievably cool movie that happened to have a phenomenal woman lead that got a whole bunch of people who were happy and ready to see a woman lead in it be successful. Why can't we feel the same way about this movie? Why would we have to tear down people that enjoyed Wonder Woman? Why would we have to tear down people that enjoyed Black Panther? Go see the movie. Get excited.
I heard something
Shut up
small
and go see it. Right.
with people just on Facebook, and they're like, "Why are y'all dressing up just to go see a movie?" And was really upset about people dressing up. I was like, "Well, people dress up to see Harry Potter.
Yeah.
They dress up to go see Star Wars, Star Trek. They dress up to see any
Rock a Horror
other
Picture
movie."
Show?
Oh, yeah, that's midnight movies.
I'm a little older, I guess.
You lost me with that. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Midnight movies, yeah.
I thought we was talking about Black Panther. No.
I taught my 14-year-old niece that word this weekend. Picture show.
Oh.
I said, well, we're going to go to the show. And she says, where in Maryland? I said, well, back in our day, we called it the picture show.
Yeah.
So I said to this niece here, I said, so where do you think we went? Let me tell you. We went downtown on Congress
Yep.
to the State or to the Paramount,
Yep.
or we went on 12th Street to the Harlem.
Yep. Yep.
What about the Rebel Drive-In out there?
That's what I was gonna say.
Well,
Welcome to the drive-in.
the Montopolis had its own drive-in. We didn't have to go there. All we had to do was walk down the street, and then half the time it was in Spanish, so we couldn't understand it no way.
I didn't go down there either. It's
Well, we saw the drive-through. We saw the drive-through. It was amazing. Now, they showed a scene a moment ago where they gathered on the other side of the cliff when they were getting ready to have the for the king. And I thought, how in the world did they get down there on these different levels of this?
Did you see the technology? How they had it set up where they had three big. Oh, I don't even know what you would call them, but they lifted up underwater and it sucked all the water down to where they can go through the tunnels and layer up on the inside.
So they
the
walked on dry ground.
Yes.
Oh, yes, sister.
Yes, they walked on dry ground.
no, actually, they walked in the studio and a computer did it.
No, don't burst our bubble.
Look, there it is right there.
That's Wakanda right there. That's the kind of top power technology they got right there.
That vibranium is
Vibranium, that's all right.
And it's all right next door. That's right. We computer classes.
Oh, man.
You know, it was something when he saw his father and he asked them those questions about, you know, how is it that you left the world out? Why did you leave your nephew? I mean, your nephew. Why didn't you bring your nephew with you? And so that was a pretty challenging question for him. And then he really rose up, and he began in a very respectful way towards his father. But he rose up and he said, no more. So this is another way. We could have handled it this way and that way. So this is what we're going to do.
At the end, I hadn't thought about until you were mentioning that way, just mentioning that scene, those two different scenes, the power of incorporating, you know, not just, obviously, every culture has a spirituality, but in the black culture, incorporating, you know, that spiritual underpinning that is so critically important to us, and then the ability to show how he was going back to, you know, as part of the transformation to becoming the Black Panther, going in to speak with the ancestors, right? Right? That is so culturally powerful. I didn't even appreciate,
you know,
no,
I had my thing about it, but.
Oh, well, I'm okay with it. I'm just saying, you know, it is a movie, but 50,000 foot level, if you talk about, you know, just the cultural piece of being going back in and paying homage to the ancestors. Right?
And the Black Panthers that were before him.
Yes.
That scene was a powerful scene.
That was powerful.
Well, and that was respect.
Yeah.
You know, that was respect. And we don't have it.
Now hold on.
Not that we should.
Now that you let me get that out, you got to talk to me about what your thing was with the.
Well, from a spiritual standpoint, we don't talk to the dead.
Oh,
but
I see what you're saying.
It was a movie, and I understand.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I talk to the dead all the time. I pray to my mom.
Well, you know what
I pray to my grandma.
Well, we don't seek the dead.
I mean, I say, please help me. Be here with me, guardian angel.
What I liked about it
I hear what you're saying.
How he took a stance and for today's, African American males, like so many of them are, a lot of us are fatherless, don't grew up without our fathers, but for the ones who do or who do have their fathers, like I see so many black males and just different people that I went to high school with, just having a hard time talking to their fathers.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to come to his father, talk to him, and for his father to support him and love him and tell him, a father has failed you if I have not prepared you for my death. And I really feel like that's an issue in the African American community with our black males, is that fathers have not trained their sons to be men. They have not trained them in the right way.
Well, too many of them, right? Too many.
I love how this movie, I
Not
really
all.
felt like it gives a positive image for young black boys to see, this is how things are supposed to be. They can have a positive image of how, a father and son
Yes.
relationship is supposed to be. So I really love that aspect. That's what I got out of it, too.
I like that.
What was the person's name? The black, what was his name?
T'Challa?
The
Killmonger?
what? No, not him. What's his name? His real name in real life that played on Oprah's, that movie
Chadwick?
with Oprah.
No.
Are you talking
It
about
wasn't
Black
his
Panther?
uncle. It wasn't his uncle, but
Forrest Whitaker?
yes.
Forrest
Thank you.
Whitaker,
What does his
yes,
hour
yes.
straight?
What was his name on the show?
Oh.
Well, anyway, he had a great influence over the Black Panther. He really did. Jajilla, I cannot pronounce their name, but he had a great influence over him, and he helped him as much as he could, to prepare him for what is to come. And he had told him, you'll see him on the other side. You'll see your ancestors. You'll see your father again. And he was really good. But that tore him up when his cousin killed him. That was sad. That was sad.
I really like to hear what she had to say about the black males need to have a positive image like that.
Oh, yeah.
We had Superman growing up. What else did I see?
The Hulk.
Man, the Hulk, yeah.
Remember the
We had a lot of white
Yeah, you had,
superheroes. I guess.
all of them.
Batman,
Buddy.
Robin,
Y'all had John. You had everybody.
John Wayne, yeah.
Right. Because to your point, they were all there, and they were for the black community. They were an extension. They didn't look like us, but we looked up to
If
those.
you watched it,
Yeah.
hey, that was all that it took.
Right, that's what
No,
it-
well, Mr. T.
No, we did have Mr. T. I'm not sure
He
that it
was
had the
scary,
same
but
kind of effect for
when
me.
it came to a flying.
yeah, 18, right?
We had the 18.
I don't feel inspired
I like
watching
Colonel.
Mr. T.
You did like watching Mr.
We're
T.
a long way
I
from
didn't-
Beverly Hills.
I don't feel
that's for sure.
inspired.
Well, Beverly Hillbillies.
Leave it to Beaver. And
Well, Granny was something.
Granny was
like it.
something.
But they weren't superheroes.
Yeah.
they weren't
They were
superheroes.
your
and
everyday average. Well, if
Exactly,
you're going to
doing
say that, then you
extraordinary
can say Andy Griffin. He was a great role model.
Ashley,
But
help me.
Still wasn't a hero.
and they
I'm
weren't
with
black.
you. I'm with you, sister.
Well, he
No,
may
the-
not have been a hero,
But
but
they weren't black.
But the point is,
Okay.
right, you made a beautiful point that I think cannot be lost, and that is the strong black male, sensitive, thoughtful, nurturing, caring role. We don't get to see that very often.
No.
Right? And the black female roles were empowering. There was nothing, they were the strength, right?
they
So
were.
when you think about in the black community about, our grandmothers, we know who the strength in the families are, right? But to see that kind of strength portrayed in, on the big screen,
Yes.
I don't care what your background is, to the extent that you got to see that and what your color is, if you didn't
You
feel
felt
some of
that.
that, right? At least that's what I was,
felt
Yes, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, especially when the lead warrior, when she was towards the end of the movie, where she was coming up against her own husband.
Yes.
And where he was like, "You would really kill me?" And she was like, "Yes."
For Wakanda.
For Wakanda, yes, she would. And she drew her spear. I was like, that was probably like my most favorite movie. And then when he looked around and he saw all of a sudden all the other men, they were bowing down to the rest of the women. It was like they had took them captive. So that was probably my most favorite part of the movie. And that one, and at the end, of course, where they came together with the all nations meeting with the rest of the world.
That was cool.
And they were saying that they wanted to help out, and it's all about love and teamwork and unity. So that was my two favorite
I'm
parts.
still stuck on. I thought all men bowed down to the women. They got a choice. You mean you got a choice?
well, then they don't abuse them.
So-
But The craziest thing is at the end of the movie when you're saying how he wanted to come, how all the world was there. The craziest questions. I don't even know what country asked it. Like, how can you help us? Like, what can you what can you possibly do to help us?
That was America, wasn't it? Wasn't the United States?
Was it?
Which one
They didn't necessarily, but they spoke perfect American English, so I don't know.
I don't know. They look foreign, but still, I'm like.
That's just because, to them, they were a third
world
country.
You're right.
Nobody didn't know, so they
didn't know who they were.
But wasn't that powerful? So the alliteration, the allusions, the references back to all of the stereotypes throughout the movie. So if we stop and think about all the different ways, the reason this is so powerful is because of the insidious, discrimination that we experience every single day. The things that it may not be overt, but it's absolutely covert every day. It may not be the kinds of, but it is the microaggressions every day. And so what I saw was all the way that this brilliant director turned those, either showed the microaggressions in a safe way, so it wasn't rubbing in anybody's face, but anybody that's experienced it got to feel a moment of, oh yeah, speak, say something, don't, because the way T'Challa then stood up and just on the podium when that was said and just smiled. Right, it was the strength of that man, confidence to stand there. It's like
you can insult me all you want. I know who I am. I know what I have, and we want to share it with you. I mean, it was just, he was great.
How can you help me, black man, ruler of goat farmers?
Who?
Right.
Yeah.
Of where?
Okay. We'll but the point is, right? We see that it's not. This isn't about segregation or separation.
It's so
it's just recognizing those stereotypes that we deal with every single day. That's why I teared up, because throughout the whole movie, I'm seeing the stereotypes get stabbed with those spears and the vibranium. I loved it. I loved it.
One of my favorite things looking at the movie as well was looking at their family and how close they were. Even though their father did pass on, but the sister and brother relationship that, T'Challa and I forgot her name, but she was hilarious. What they had, it was hilarious. A beautiful thing to see. Yeah. Like you don't really see that.
Great bond.
Especially in millennials, our age.
Yeah, you don't see they're on their phones, and like she's a freaking genius. In her lab, one of my favorite. I died laughing when she was like, "Okay, kick it," and he kicked the suit across the. They kicked it. She's like, "What are you doing? Just coming into my lab and you're kicking things around? Like, what's wrong with you?" And so she's getting her camera ready, and she's oh, just for footage, kick it again. And he's like, "Okay," and then he blows away. They delete that footage. She's like, "Nope." Like, it was so funny.
You know what I loved about you telling me this, reminding me of that. My son saw this movie before the rest of my family, and my son was sitting at the breakfast table kind of explaining it to my wife and my daughter and I. And my son was talking about these characters with such pride, right? And my son is interracial, my wife is Anglo, my of course I'm black, and so to see him talking with such pride about his culture, and the one that he loved, that he really got excited about when he was talking about the sister. He said, "Daddy, she is the most brilliant scientist in the world," right? And he was going on about how her math, everything. It didn't matter what it was, in math, sciences, her, the inventor, that she was literally probably. I think the quote was, "Daddy, I think she's the most brilliant scientist in the world." Not woman, not man,
in the world.
Scientist in the world, right?
Oh my goodness.
So
One thing she said, she's like, just because something works doesn't mean you can't make it better.
Yeah,
Just
I love
because
that.
it
Was
works
good.
doesn't mean you can't make it better. I was
Hold
like,
on here. Go ahead, Mom.
That's been my question. Since y'all, I guess y'all go to school or do whatever, or work or whatever, what has been the response from the community itself?
Younger people, you mean?
Has it been all positive and like, whoa, let's keep on going this route and stuff,
So I work in a barber shop. So after the days are going on after the movie has came out, everyone is great. Wakanda. Like, that's what everybody was doing. That was the topic in the shop for so long. Everyone's speaking about Wakanda.
Part of a trailer or something that just shows the Wakanda part instead of all the all the basic trailers. So I'm trying to search out, find something that just shows it, because from what I've seen mixed in with the other footage of the movie is that it's just a really magnificent place. You know, the transportation system.
Was it filmed in Ghana?
Just the advanced advanced look to it and everything. So, oh God, in the river, that waterfall scene, something else.
Yes.
I want to go see the 3D movie. He doesn't like wearing the glasses, but I prefer the 3D version because my oldest son took me to the what was that stupid? It was the Aliens movie that had the big ship and everything. Prometheus.
Oh, Prometheus,
That was
yeah.
my first 3D movie, and I swear I was. You didn't tell me. I was just
That's I think
amazed.
that's why he don't want to go.
She beat you to death, Pokey.
He doesn't like wearing the glasses, but I love the 3D movie, you know, and I'd rather go see it in 3D because I imagine that's pretty magnificent in that
No, I
movie.
haven't seen it in 3D, but that gives me a chance to go see it for a fourth time now.
Amen.
I'm just gonna go buy
There
it.
is the ones down south at Metropolitan and Westgate. Their first showing of the day is like 3D.
Okay.
And then they have one that's like in the evening, 3D. But yeah, I want to do 3D. He doesn't, so I guess we're going to have to go to two different showings because I'm a 3D person. I don't go back to regular movies now. It's like,
Well, I have to say, what I've seen, like on social media, Facebook and Instagram, like I've seen a lot of people talk about how, as far as African Americans, like coming together, sticking together, the numbers that this movie has made.
The
Like a lot of
numbers.
people have said, do we see how, if we stick together, how much impact we can make in the world? So that's what I'm seeing really on social media. Of course, there's some naysayers and things like that, like, it's not really made by a black person. A white person made they came up with it, so it's really not for the black people. But for the most part,
I thought it was made by.
I'm gonna say it was
Yes.
made by you do hear that because I think
mean,
what
the boss
it's
man
Marvel
was
and
black,
Walt
right?
Disney.
Yes.
The visionary.
yes, I guess
Visionary.
they're saying as far as like with the whole.
Oh, who
Marvel,
originated was
yes,
that? Oh,
all that stuff.
oh, I
like
got
that,
you.
but I'm
Who
just
actually
like,
originated the character?
could be a negative, but for the most part, a lot of people are saying, like, if we stick together, we can do this. We can build our communities back up. We can support each other. Stopping black on black crime. So I've seen different types of discussions.
Keep more daddies in the
Yes,
house and
yes,
stuff like that is what
too,
you need to
yes.
do.
And out the jail.
Yes.
Well, we are one culture that don't really stick together.
Yeah.
I mean, and we do need to stick together.
You stick
You
together
know?
at the voting booth anyway.
Well,
That's for a whole other show.
yeah, a whole nother show.
You know, but I do want to say, I don't want to lose this thought, and I love where y'all are going with this, because I will tell you the impact on me personally is I found myself in the last couple of weeks really stepping in, Pokey, because I've been on Facebook, but really stepping in and talking about social justice issues, right? So often we're afraid to have those, I say afraid, we don't have those conversations because it makes people uncomfortable, or
I think
we
it
get
is
labeled.
fear, though. That was a good word for it.
So you're right. It's fear. It's fear being labeled. It's fear, whatever. It's fear of fear. But I just started thinking, you know what? We have gender inequality issues. We have wage gap issues. We have we have black men who are fundamentally falling behind on all of the curves when we talk about, my point is there's so many things to address, and I find myself having a hard time not putting it out there. It's like, judge me, be unhappy with me, but talk about it. Don't attack each other. Don't attack me for asking you to talk, and maybe you don't like the news source, right? Maybe it's Fox News, maybe it's MSNBC, whatever it is, but it's an issue. Don't attack it as fake news. If it's fake news and it's out. But my point is, there's a real live issue. Let's talk about it.
Even if it comes from the New York Times, huh?
Well, but my point to that, Pokey,
I left that part out of my comment.
but my point of that is I'm really picking up on what y'all are saying. It's like, and exactly what you were just leading us, the direction you were leading us is, it's stepping up, knowing that together we're empowered. And it's not to alienate or hurt anyone, but it is to no longer be hurt. It's to recognize it, to step into our own power and accept ourselves, accept the beauty of our skin tone, accept the power and the richness of the history that makes us who we are. we're a melting pot. You know, black people in this country, we're not any more pure than white people. We're a melting pot. But to the extent that somebody's going to look at me and automatically say you're a black man and then make assumptions, then fine, I own that. But then own all of the other pieces. If you're gonna send that my way, then respect me. And always respect black women, and always educate our children in all ways.
Yes.
We'll step up and own and let us be responsible, like Wakanda. Let us step up and demand that we participate in our schools. I don't mean to get on a soapbox. I really like the direction that you were taking us, because that's self-empowerment. To me, what Wakanda means is self-empowerment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there, of course, will always be those ones, even just like in the movie, the lead warrior princess, she was just like, what do we need with him when the what was it, the CIA agent, she was like, what do we need with him? They were like, no, we need him. Like, we need him too. So it's just like, you know, there will be, you know, in the community, there'll be people that are like, no, we'll just be good by ourselves. But at the end of the day, we really do. All races
need each other.
And
yes.
even with Killmonger, when he challenged, what was it,
Michael B.
T'Challa, he was like, we don't go to other countries, or we don't go to war with other countries, and this is how we've stayed safe. He was like, and those are not my people. I'm not the ruler over them. He was like, but didn't man first come from this continent? So isn't all people your people? He made a very good point.
See what I mean?
Like,
powerful.
Boom. Yes. Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am. I know you want to say something about that.
I'm fine.
Well, you know, I thought it was an interesting thing too is when the king, you know, really tried to comfort his cousin in the end, you know, to tell him, you know, I can help you, but he, you know, his cousin had so much pride, he would rather die.
But I thought that wasn't pride to me. Like what he said, that was powerful. Like, what did he say? He said, you can drop me off in the ocean with my ancestors, because they knew that it was
better to die than to be in chains. Be in bondage.
Boom.
That was powerful. Like,
that was nothing lost on me. That was amazing.
Was very powerful. I understood, because I mean, if you look at it, even just with our African American men in the prison system, you know, like, you may not be physically dead, but either you're in jail, you're getting profiled. It's one or the other, you know. So it's just like they feel like they're in bondage. So it's like you're practically dead. But at the same time, though, that's why we have to stick together in unity to overcome those issues that keep us in bondage. So.
Now that one, what was his name? The one that actually.
I have a problem with it. Besides, I always in society in general, I always want to blame white man. When I look at movies like this, I have a problem with it. I see them as a product. Instead of I mean, it's amazing the stuff like we talked about at the beginning, the technology. It's a manufactured product, and there's a lot of black people who were involved in manufacturing this product, and it seems they did a damn good job. I mean, they made some damn good money. So that's, if anything ought to be seen, I mean, there's so much can be taken from this movie. I'd like that to be the top thing.
This was a Disney movie, right? Wasn't this a Disney movie?
Marvel.
Yeah, it was Disney.
Disney
manufactured.
So I guess
Disney Studios or whatever.
Disney Studios. So I'm wondering how many black people are on the board of the Disney. I'm wondering how many senior executives are, and that's not a challenge.
I was wondering how many black people were in the control room and actually put those computer programming. Because there's a lot of computer programming within that movie.
I guess where I was going with that was talking about the idea, again, this is not a separation of a segregation.
Right.
It is a create room at the table for all of us, right?
There needs to be a...
And if we talk about the powerful impact, right, so those beautiful little girls over there, right, we talk about the impact on young black children who have been shown an image. Well, the reason we want that is because we want them to believe. Even if I don't get to, I want my next generation to be accepted at the table, and I don't want anybody to think it's
abnormal I want them to see.
Or unique, right?
That's the image I want them to see. I want them to see a black man at the board of directors.
And a black woman. I want to see a black woman that not only it's not a unique thing that she makes an international blockbuster movie, but that she's also naturally the chairman of the board. I want to see her as the CEO. In other words, you know, this is maybe Pollyanna-ish of me, but I think that what this movie does for me is that it reignites the expectation that everybody should see that as a normal thing.
Exactly. It should be the new norm.
Yeah.
The new norm.
It raises the standard
Yeah, it does.
with
Oh.
people. Yeah.
Well, if they're qualified, they should be on the board.
Exactly.
Somebody
problem
made a
is-
lot of money on this product.
Yeah, I guess the point is, Pokey, that what this movie shows me is, and what it should show all of us is, we've always had qualified people. We just finished Black History Month, and every time Jeff Trevelyan or somebody else posted another powerful story about somebody from, you know, 100 or 200 years ago that were doing things that they weren't supposed to be allowed to be able to do, or weren't supposed to be smart enough or good enough or whatever to do, it's like they've always been there, Pokey. So the difference is, what's exciting about this movie is that it says more people like you, Pokey, more people like Ma, that says, I don't care what your color are you qualified, and if so, get
all I
out of
care about.
exactly, right? That's what, again, I know that I'm taking it in a different direction than just the you know, the entertainment factor.
The storyline is a strong one,
But there's-
obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't even appreciate it until I heard you all talking, you know, and listening to your perspectives, you know, and what you saw in that movie. It's reminding me of just why it was so deeply moving for me personally. And you know what? And I sat next to it. I'll tell you, just if you'll indulge me one more moment. I happened to sit next to. I like to sit in the right spot in the movie theater, right? Because there's
Oh,
a
no,
perfect
not
place.
like Sheldon
right
Cooper or
spot.
whatever it is on that show.
Well, there's a right spot where it's just eye level, and I happened to get in. Amy and I got to the movie just in time, and there was a little bit younger couple sitting right next to me, and it was another African American male. And, you know, I'm just kind of a joker, and I'm sitting down, and I'm kind of joking with them or whatever. And I said, now, listen, if I get scared, I might grab your knee or whatever. You know, he's like, better not be grabbing my knee, man. I'm just telling you. You know, it was just joking, right? But here we were, two men, you know, from this culture, you know, conditioned. We don't show our emotion. We don't, well, I mean, I do. But you know what I'm saying? We're sitting there. That brother was crying just as hard as I was.
Oh.
And he and I,
goodness.
when that movie ended, sitting right next to him, and when I realized that he was crying, this guy that was all strong and, you know, kind of, right? And he was crying. This means this means
deeper.
something, right? It's deeper, and that's what I'm trying to say. Y'all, even listening to you all talk about the different things you pulled out of it. That's why I keep saying, boom, Pokey. This
Powerful stuff.
well, it's powerful because it's an acknowledgement. I don't know any way to say it. They were slaying microaggressions that black people deal with every single day in a sophisticated way, in a way that if you don't experience it, you may not have appreciated or seen it.
Was it
but
not
spoke.
intrusive? Like, how did they portray my people?
Well, honestly,
Like that all evil? Or?
No, well, it was a complex thing, right? So some of it were like the whole conversation about, and it wasn't that it was overtly white people. It was more just anybody that's not as sophisticated as we are. And it just so happened that, you know, some of the advanced civilizations weren't seen when looking at it as very civilized.
And I think, too, Pokey, in some instances, it may have been portrayed as the enemy. Not all white people, but from some of their perspective, yes.
Were there any black bad people on that movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, I mean,
It was hard to see him as
Killmonger was
Killmonger with a name like Killmonger, he got to be bad, huh?
right.
And he was his cousin. And then the other one was the head, the general, her husband. I mean, he all along he had a takeover spirit anyway. He wanted the king's seat all along. And
good.
then the other one that had the dogs barking.
With him, the one you're talking about, the lead warrior, her husband. You talking
Yes.
about him? I think his thing is he was fed up and tired because don't forget his parents were killed by the what's his name, the white guy that had the super. So I think that was his issue. He was fed up, and he said, like he told King T'Challa, your father was in this seat, this throne for
He didn't do
and he
anything.
didn't do anything. So I thought things were going to be different with you. So I think that was his whole thing.
In answer to your question, how many black people on the board of directors at Disney? One man.
Wow.
How many total, do you know? Did you?
I'd go back and look.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, we got 8 minutes.
Wow.
7 minutes.
Oh, wow. I mean, it was really something else. Another point I was going to make was, Pokey, you asked the question, was it some evil black people? Yes, it was, amongst themselves.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
Thank you, ma'am.
But it was they were so creative.
10-4.
They were so creative in what they done.
Yeah, Pokey, it certainly was not. Like Marilyn says, the focus wasn't white versus black.
Yeah.
It wasn't it. There were, it was...
Good versus evil,
It
period.
was good versus
Yes.
evil.
Truth versus a lie.
Truth versus a lie. And the underlying, so it was just a great story, like the Wonder Woman movie that came out. It was just a good story with great special effects, funny lines. I mean, the writing was funny, but there was a second and a third and a fourth layer that spoke to, and to me, now y'all are bringing back like a third and a fourth layer for me, right? I'm really loving this, and I can't wait to go see it again and think about
I
it.
would go watch
Well,
it.
you know what I really love about Wakanda itself? The community. How they stuck together as a community. They didn't go out and seek assistance from nobody else. They dealt with what they had. They dealt with what their worth was, and they saw what their resources was, and they used them to the extent of where they just kept and continued on, creating new and new and new and new. But they never went to outside of their village or country to ask for help from anybody else.
10-4.
Everything came from them.
Well, that's certainly like having
I guess too, because the vibranium was there, so
Yes.
they found it there. But I wonder what was going on in the uncle's head for when he went out and gave up the resources of how he got killed in the first place, because he gave up the vibranium, So, but that made me look like, I felt bad for him, but it was like he kind of gave up Wakanda, but he was also looking out for the African Americans.
Yeah, I would say, because he said,
He went
they
and
needed the
got
weapons.
Americanized and yeah,
But remember what he
yes.
said he did it, right? Do you remember what he was saying? Why?
That they needed the weapons. Like his point of view was Killmonger's point of view, and how, black people all over the country were
the world.
the world was, just
Oppressed.
in need. They didn't have it. And he saw Wakanda like, we're here in hiding. We have everything. We could solve a problem. And, his brother, King at the time, they weren't on that. They were just trying to keep Wakanda safe. So that's...
So, Pokey, the point of that was that the way that the cousin became bad is he came in and he saw that his daddy had died. That's the king's brother, and the king's brother was not a spy, but was living in the United States, living in Los Angeles, trying to whatever their network of communication back were, and he was seeing how horrible the African American condition was, and they were saying, we got to do something about this. We got to change it. I want to say one other quick thing that's just a wonderful story for me, and I'll make it very brief. But at the very end, right, the warrior princess, the general, she sees, now her husband, they have these huge, because they're the warriors, they have these huge rhinos with these big medals, right, these big on their horns. And she is so brave. She doesn't hesitate when T'Challa is about to be gored by a rhino, right? In the battle between, the Killmonger now and T'Challa, she, just runs, this beautiful, strong, athletic, gorgeous woman, runs and gets between the T'Challa and the rhino. And, doesn't flinch. It is the essence of Herculean, amazing Wonder Woman, Amazonian badassness, and she stood there, and it just came. That rhino came to. You think she's about to be toasted, and that rhino comes to her, and she doesn't flinch, and it kisses her, it licks her. That for me was the ultimate sign of respect that director showed. That's what he believed the black woman represents to him.
And that rhino, that rhino knew who she was.
Yeah,
yes.
He knew that
that's Mama.
she's a force.
I can't go
That's
right.
Yeah. Not to be reckoned with. Don't Don't touch her. Oh, I forgot about that
This is one
part.
of the times I wish we had a longer show. Because this is all real good. Ashley,
Val?
Val.
Val is
I'm really glad to have y'all. Thank you, Marilyn. 'Cause
You're
it's really good
welcome.
to have their opinions on this.
Yeah,
kind of
ladies,
thing.
y'all brought a lot to the table today. Thank
You
you.
brought a whole bunch to
you.
the
It's a
table
pleasure
and a
being
whole
here.
bunch to the audience. If for no other reason than because we're so old and we need y'all.
We're
y'all
not
know what
old.
it's about to.
We
My
just need
wife's
to-
been 29 for about 25 years. So
I ain't got that yet, Pokey. What?
how long? They can ask how long you been 29. We ain't going there.
I'm
Okay, you
27.
won't live much longer if you keep asking questions like that.
I know these two girls are a lot younger,
Yes.
and so they can actually speak to things that I'd never think of. Like I tell you, I don't know why my wife hates it, but all I see is a product.
Yeah.
Well, that guy got cut. I guess his contract's over. He's out looking for another job. Oh, but the character, he cried his character got killed. No, he didn't. He's on the unemployment line, that's all.
Oh, God. Do you have any announcements?
Yeah, no show. 2 minutes, yeah. No show next week, but we'll be back. I'm going to have to go see this. We probably have to talk more about this. Because it is, I believe if we can improve
Pokey,
any
pokey,
segment of the
pokey,
community, we all benefit.
Pokey, there's one very important announcement that you should be making, and that is that you and Mom
Oh,
are
yeah, baby.
beautiful new grandparents.
Well, this is our second or fourth. It depends how you want to look at it.
All right,
And
well,
tell us
whatever.
that
You're
baby's
new
name.
grandparents again.
This is my
Grandparents.
youngest son has produced a baby boy,
What's his name?
Caleb.
Middle name? Caleb.
She's
Mom's yelling.
No,
His middle name is Caleb, isn't it?
that's his first name.
Oh. I was
Caleb
thinking
Ritter.
What's the second name?
Caleb Ritter.
Well, anyway, he's got a great name.
Yeah.
Caleb Edward Ritter.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mom.
So Caleb is his first. I was thinking Caleb was the second name, but anyway, it's just, I love the name Caleb.
Oh, we got about a minute left.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you two.
Congratulations.
For either the second and or fourth time, but whatever it is, congratulations
Well, we
again.
got two, but my nephew was real close to us. He's got two.
Okay.
As this is the first one from the youngest, so
Congratulations.
Beautiful.
it's grandkids what it's all about, because family.
Family.
Yeah.
And I do believe that we need to improve any segment of the community, we all benefit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And young black males seem to have a problem. I think the problem is mostly the no father figures.
Yeah. They need the unbreaking. They need
And
the
I don't
unbreaking.
know if I say anything, or you just a white racist. I mean, we're almost out of time. 5 seconds. I appreciate y'all coming on. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Yeah, we got 15:30.
Thanks for having us,
I
Pokey.
appreciate